it's Lori here. I'm here today to do part 1 of my June reading wrap up. Oh my god, I can't believe it's June. I had a bit of an interesting reading month. I actually listened to a lot of audiobooks for the first half of the month just because they were on like the much shorter side. And I did actually have some pretty good reads. It was just a weirder reading month. But really enjoyable. I really have enjoyed all the stuff that I listened to. I had one 5-star read and a couple of other ones. But yeah, let's get into it. These books I did want to giving to friends because it's the very, very end of the year, and I like to give books to friends before they head off for the summer because I work with a lot of teachers, and the most time they have to read is over the summer. So the first book that I gave to a friend was Dial A For Aunties by Jessie C. Suento. I might be saying that name wrong, but here's a photo. I would classify this as like a cozy mystery with a twist. So you basically follow this girl, and it's Chinese, Indian, an Indonesian family, and their whole family, they run like a wedding planning business, and you have the 3 aunties, the mom, and then the daughter, and they run this catering business together. This mom sets up her daughter on a date, and the daughter inadvertently winds up killing her date, and they wind up going around this adventure to try to get rid of this body, but the body gets wind up shipping to this wedding that is like high society. The wedding reminded me a lot of Crazy Rich Asians, and the drama ensued, but the person that's running that resort is also her ex-boyfriend. So there was a lot of drama. It was so fun, so enjoyable. A cozy mystery that I've never really read before. I've read like a couple of cozy mystery series, but this one had a really unique premise where like the killer was trying to like stop herself from being caught. It was really, really interesting, engaging, super fun, super fast paced. I love the flash from the past romance. I also really learning about more about Chinese and Indonesian culture. It was really enjoyable. There's going to be a sequel, which I will definitely be picking up. And I wound up giving this one like 4 stars for review. It was really enjoyable. What I'm going to chat about is an audiobook, and it's called The Perfect Weapon. This is in the lead up to Star Wars The Force Awakens. I started this read, I think in 2020, at the very, very end of 2020, and I just never get around to following up on this reading. But I did want to picking up this audiobook because it was only 2 hours. Here is a photo. That I really liked about this is that it had a lot of like sound effects and supplementary sounds that sort of enhanced it. It really made me feel like I was in a Star Wars movie, and I really like that. But you basically follow this pilot, and she is forced to go on an unexpected mission to get a weapon that she was not expecting, and it sort of leads her to be teamed up with this young male soldier, and it was just fun. It was like an hour. I really felt engaged. It was very, very a very, very engrossing experience because there was so many sound effects. Sort of reminded me of when I was reading like Illuminate files or stuff like that, because the audio book, the world that I was listening to super came to life. I liked it. I don't necessarily know the connection back to Force Awakens, but I really liked it, and I definitely want to keep going on this adventure and keep reading books so that I could eventually, like, when I rewatch Force Awakens, it might make a little bit more sense. That's the hope anyway. I'll report back when I get there and let you guys know, but it was enjoyable. Definitely like a short listen, but I really like the special elements that just enhanced the listening experience. But the story was okay, but definitely the elements definitely made the story like a little bit more exciting to listen to. Listen, we're going to chat about is by Billie Eilish, which is the name of it, and it's mostly a photo book, and I did actually buy it. It's somewhere in this room, but I also got the audio book, which I loved so much. I'll show the photo, and then I'll tell you why I really love the audiobook. So here's a photo. Series that Billie Eilish has taken over the course of her whole life. Like, her parents have taken some, and then she has, and it's sort of in her lead up in the past, like, you know, from her childhood to now, basically, like, I think pre-COVID, or actually maybe like at the start of COVID. It was really interesting just sort of flipping through the photo. I bought it one day at Barnes & Noble, and on the way home I just sort of read through the whole thing. But I knew I really wanted to get the audiobook as well. So the audiobook is told through 3 different voices. It's told through her voice, Billie Eilish, her mom's voice, and her dad's voice. So you sort of get this story told mostly from Billie's point of view, but then you also have her mom and her dad's point of view. I thought that was like ingenious. I've never read an audiobook like that before that sort of just wasn't necessarily stories, but these people just sort of were kind of going off on these pictures that they saw. They were probably looking at the audiobook in the booth or the book in the booth. I really enjoyed that. I think it gave me a lot of insight into her life. If you've watched her documentary, I think this would be a nice supplement material, but the photo book was also just really enjoyable as well. So technically I read this 2 times, but I'm only going to count it once on Goodreads because I read the book and then I listened to the ebook. But audiobook, I feel like you really do need both though. So maybe like look at the audio, like maybe get the book from your library and then get the audio, because the audio I think I could definitely listen to over and over and over again because it was just really enjoyable and very, very impactful. So I wound up really liking that one so much, and I'm really happy that I wound up picking it up. Also, another cozy mystery, which I think definitely fits in more of the cozy mystery pattern that I've read in the past, and that is Arsenic and Adobo. And here is a very, very pretty photo. This cover is also very, very pretty as well. This is another book that has like a big extended family. This one takes place in a restaurant, and this young girl, she winds up moving back home after her boyfriend dumps her, and she winds up working for the family restaurant. But when her ex-boyfriend, the food critic, comes in to have some drama, he winds up dropping dead in her location, and she is the prime suspect because they recently have been having problems, and she has to kind of go on a mission to solve his death. And it is hilarious, funny, a little bit dramatic. It definitely really made me look at the police in a very different light, and I wasn't necessarily expecting that. It was really interesting, very engaging. There's going to be a second book, which I will definitely pick up. There's an adorable hot dog, which you have me when you put animals in your cozy mysteries. I love it. I love dogs especially. So it was a delight. Really, really fun. And I can't wait for book 2. And I wound up giving this one 4.4 stars as well. This was definitely my favorite out of the 2 of the cozy mysteries I read, but still super enjoyable. And I really can't wait to read another book in the series soon. A random listen that I got for $5 during an Audible sale, but it has really transformed my existence, I'll be honest. And it's called Good Morning, Good Life. I think the subtitle is How to Revamp Your Morning Routine, but here is a photo. I have been struggling a little bit ever since I started working to really have more time in my life and like feel like a human being during the school year and not like a robot. Especially because I have to wake up so early because I have such a far commute, but I also know going into summer that I will have potentially a little bit more time. So I really read this in hopes of like sort of developing my morning routine a little bit more, and I really liked her as a writer a lot. I thought it was a very, very practical steps to take. I like books that have practical applications, and this is definitely one that I really wound up liking. I'm definitely in the process of incorporating a lot of elements in my life, and I will definitely add some of them during the summer, but it was great if you're like me and you're trying to be a little bit more productive and kind of make your morning be a little bit more productive. I would definitely recommend this listen, and I was really enjoyable, and I got a lot out of it. So if you're kind of in that mindset as I am, hoping to make the most out of your summer, maybe you're a teacher like me, or you have a job where it gets a little bit less crazy in the summer, I would definitely recommend you listen to it. It was a really, really quick lesson, like not even 6 hours, and I listened to it in about 2 to 3 days, and I really like the lessons that I learned from it. Physical books left over, but the next book I read was Cool for the Summer by Dahlia Adler. This is actually also for the not LG, well, it's like for the Pride Bingo board for the TBR and Beyond reading group. I have been doing so bad with that board. I kicked butt for the middle grade one. I like won the challenge, and I have been floundering this month frantically. So that's why I've said in the start of this video that I'm not doing as great this month, just because I have not been gravitating towards reading those books on my TBR, and I like a good challenge. I like winning a challenge, and this is the first one that I wound up reading for that. But you basically follow this girl, oh my goodness, what is her name? Lara. And she has always, her entire life, had feelings for this boy named Chase. But one summer, when she winds up going to her mom's boss's house, summer house, she winds up meeting a girl and they wind up having a little bit of a relationship, and then the next you kind of follow her the subsequent year when that same girl goes to her school, and she has to sort of balance between, does she want to be with Chase or does she want to be with this new girl? What is that relationship going to look like? There was so much representation in this book, and I really enjoyed it. I also really enjoyed the way that Lara sort of had a lot of self-discovery through this book. It was enjoyable. I really liked it. It was a very, very quick read. And I really liked the ending. I thought the ending was a very, very interesting way to handle that topic, and it was really, really enjoyable. And I will definitely read more by this author in the future. I have her anthology on my bookshelf, but I just love diverse reads, especially LGBTQ+, and I'm going to make it my mission to read more of those going forward as well. But I really like this one. It just recently came out, and I would definitely recommend you pick it up as well. And then the next book that I wound up reading, is another physical book that I have on my hands. This is one that I also recently bought, but that is Blade of Secrets by Tricia Levisera. This is her newest release. I just got this month. This follows a girl named Ziba, and she is a master blacksmith. And she's like a magical blacksmith. She can kind of imbue these weapons with powers, but when a warlord asks her to create a blade with powers beyond anything that she has ever created, and she learns a secret about that person, she has to go on a run with the weapon to sort of save the day. And she kind of goes on the run with her sister and two other people, and it is just a delight. I really love this book. This book also does deal with a lot of social anxiety in Ziba. And depression is another book that has that topic that I'm currently reading. I love it. I love Tricia Levisera's writing. She writes stories, and they're so fast paced and so quick. I loved all the characters. I love Ziva. I love the relationship with her sister. It was such a fun read. This is actually the start of a series. I said in my reading blog I was pretty sure it was a standalone, but this one is a duology, sort of like her Pirate Queen, Siren Queen and Pirate Queen duology. But I really like this book. Definitely a favorite of the month for sure. And I can't wait to see where this series goes next. But I really liked all the characters in this book, and it was very, very quickly paced as well. And then the next book we are going to chat about is Poison Ivy Thorns, which is a graphic novel, which is also LGBTQ, that I got from DC Inc. This is a book that's by Cody Keplinger, and it has to do with poison ivy. You basically follow this girl, and she has a very complicated relationship with her dad. But when her power winds up being used in a little bit of a dangerous way, she winds up getting close to this girl, and some secrets are revealed about both of their lives, and they are sort of pushed together, and it sort of goes in an interesting direction. It was a very, very quick novella. A graphic novel. I really enjoyed it, though. Very, very quick pace. Perfect LGBTQ story for the season. I don't think I did a very good job of explaining it, but I really liked the writing style, and I really liked Poison Ivy as a character, and it was really, really fun. Super fast paced, a little bit hard hitting. Definitely has abuse elements to it in regards to the father-daughter relationship, and I wound up giving this one 4 stars for review. And then the next book that I also wound up finishing was The OK Witch and the Hungry Shadow by Emma Shirka. I just finished this book again. I just actually just literally got a physical finished copy of it because I'm on a blog tour for it. I like this one a lot. It had a lot to do with self-discovery. The magic system wound up developing, and it definitely deals a lot with like your internal demons as well, which I thought was interesting. But it also dealt with the past elements of the Witch Clan, and I wound up giving this one 4 stars for review as well. And my review for this will probably be up in early July, so be sure to check that out. And then the last book I'm going to talk about in this video is Rule of Wolves by Lee Berdugo. So this is the book that took me a couple of weeks to read because it's massive and I didn't want to bring it to work. I eventually got over it and that's how I finished it. But this is the conclusion to the King of Scars duology. I really like this book quite a bit. I wound up giving it 5 stars. I loved King of Scars when I first read it. This book really not only wrapped up the King of Scars duology, but it also really wrapped up like the whole Grishaverse. And that makes me a little bit sad because I really do like the Grishaverse. We were told that we may not get anything else in the future, and that like makes me a little bit sad because it's definitely doors definitely open to possibly have some more Crow books in the future, which I would be perfectly happy with, like with the Kings with the Six of Crows characters, because I grew to adore them in these series. But this basically wraps up the major story for the Grishaverse, the stuff that was open up in King of Scars. I loved it. I loved getting Nikolai's point of view. Zoya and Nina, it was such a delight, so much fun. I devoured this book. It was really enjoyable, really engaging, a really interesting conversation, and the point of view characters we got really were spectacular. We got to see characters from both the Six of Crow world and also the Shadow and Bone world. I've also read this when I was in the middle of watching the TV show, which was even more enjoyable. I can't say enough positive things about this book, so I'm gonna stop, but really liked it. If you have not checked out the Grishaverse, definitely start with Shadow and Bone, but I hope you get around to reading this one because it is definitely my favorite series in that whole Grishaverse. So let me know in the comments what are some of your top reads of the month. For me, it's definitely Rule of Wolves, Blade of Secrets, the Billie Eilish book, and also the Revamping My Morning Routine book. And I'm so excited to hear what you guys read recently, and I hope you guys subscribe to below to all the things, and I'll talk to you guys for my next video. Bye, friends.